Welcome back at the third SOFA session, a reflection on week 2 about understanding the context of use. You share many good results at the discussion forum. We think that you understand this assignment well. Hopefully, this first short experience with interviewing helps you to see how insightful and motivating it is to involve people in your design research. Especially when you notice that your assumptions about other people's experiences are not always right. Okay, we now go to one of our studios where we show you some examples of your peers. We selected some of your work and as you may see, we select the ones who are most appealing somehow. And I would like to emphasize that it's important that your work is appealing for designers to convey their message. And there are many ways. I also selected again the work of Wolfrey, and he's working, or she, I'm not sure, working with a lot of graphic design, but you can also easily use hand drawings, you can use existing pictures, you can even find magazines and with a pair of scissors making your visuals and then make a photograph. So there are many ways to do this. So I hope you will enjoy it also to communicate your results. So an important finding is that your assumptions are wrong and that it makes sense to do interviews and to go to your intended users. For example, the work of Annie, at the end in her insights, she mentioned even that most of her assumptions were wrong. Her interviewer, Kathleen, was actually having her breakfast at work and not at home, and she was not that happy in the morning. So that's very important finding. Then I would like to go to the social map. I hope that's also something you learned, that it is useful. For example, here we have a manager who's alone, but the connection is also with his daughters on a distance by smartphone. So the social connections can be extended outside the house, and that's also mentioned, for example, here, this work, that also the barista, where he has his daily coffees, is included. Sometimes there are no people included. Here the husband is not included, so this is more narrowed down to really the people in the interaction in the morning ritual. Another interesting point, and that's visualized here, is the walkthrough. Wolfrey is mentioning all the points and all the places the morning ritual takes place, which can give you a better understanding. For example, when I analyzed my own morning ritual, I became aware that I used the stairs very, very many times. An interesting explanation from the work of Kosti 8, thing she mentioned, or he was mentioning, is that that the person is extremely happy during the morning ritual. And actually, it is also mentioned that that is kind of difficult to design for someone who is very happy. But actually, I think it's also interesting, because if you ask yourself why this person is so happy, you can also learn from it and maybe use it for other people. So my message here is that you do not necessarily design only for this happy person, but you can use this insight anyway to design for other people. Okay, I also would like to stress the importance of the why question. For example, if you see a problem, the example is that a man is hitting his head against the door, and you as a designer decide to design a door that opens automatically, or maybe it's very soft. Problem solved? Not if you understand the problem better, because after a while you understand, hey, but this person has bad eyes. So it would have been better maybe to design or to have good glasses for this person. So first you really have to know what you need to design in order to design good. Let's go to an example, because here Caroline, she did a good job, I think, to ask this why question. Here are some questions mentioned about the why. Why does he hold his cell phone when he's sleeping? And the answer is here. He sleeps with his phone in one hand, so that he feels his alarm. So he's actually afraid not to hear the alarm. Here you can also go a step further. You can ask yourself also, but why is he not hearing the cell phone? Okay, and my last message is about the feedback. Next week you will give your feedback in the peer review, and giving feedback is not easy. First, because you don't know each other very well, and your work is kind of personal, so it's not always easy to receive the feedback. So be careful with your peer feedback next week, how you give the feedback. And one of my tips is you can think about tips and tops. So what you think can be improved and what you think that is well done already. So for example, I have a tip about the why question, asking more why questions, that I give to one of you. And I have a top about, for example, the visualization. So give your feedback in a way that you would like to receive it. And by giving feedback, you will learn more. Usually, as a designer, you will study the context more extensively and involve more intended users. However, in this course we do not have time enough. We need to keep it short. For extra insights and inspiration for your design challenge, you can look at each other's work at the discussion forum. Next week, after the design challenge deadline, we will offer you the possibility to work in teams. In the header, you will find the term team, where you can click and then see 3 categories. You can choose one that fits most with the theme of your design challenge. Within a category, you can either join one of the offered groups or you can make a new group. We hope that this will make it easy and fun to exchange ideas and thoughts about each other's work on a smaller scale. So that's it for now. You will now leave the discover phase and step into the define phase. In this phase, you're going to define your design challenge. Good luck!